But all of the traditional art institutions, I ain't never felt comfortable. I never, yeah, in this way, I am such a very typical Black kid from the South Side. Like I grew up knowing I was interested in art, but we did not access those places to fulfill our artistic desires. That was not where it was happening. It was like, nah, we create spaces. Like this little spot, Lit X, that opened up in Wicker Park. Like we all gonna go there. This little club, like we created space. We did not, yeah, museums. So now that I'm in these spaces speaking, it's still very weird for me. So when we started the Inglewood Rising Billboard project, and then subsequently my two photography projects that led to my Everyday Inglewood exhibition at Loyola prior to Folded Map, we were all in the community like, we have to shift the narrative, we have to reclaim the narrative. But as a result of my practice and engagements with Folded Map, we were able to kind of interrupt the media space in which we felt we were being attacked. So as a result, we were able to have the larger conversation of why it's a news story. It's a news story because you don't see images like this. Why don't you see images like this? Forget shifting the narrative. Forget that. That's like 2015. Like, you gotta change the narrator.
I know, there was one spot in the West Loop called Red Kiva, and those weren't necessarily like majority like white spaces. They were very Black, but it was just like very bottle service oriented. So there's no dancing, and it just felt like lots of I don't know, like kind of like showy, like and not much like actual like connecting community.
Yes, absolutely. Went to the same Red Kiva. Absolutely. And then I would even go to some of the bars up north that are real white, real bro-y. It would be a handful of Black people in the bars, loud as shit, just uncomfortable. I'm a space maker for Black women, marginalized communities, queer folks, and youth when I can. And it looks like physical space, emotional space, party noir. It started out as a day party and it's become a cultural hub.
To add to what Ray said, a space that centers Black joy. And we view that as like a tool of like resistance in the face of adversity.
That brought up my like awareness. Like you have a sense. I just remember feeling like walking home from the train super late at night from like my second job. All my friends would be like, call me while you walk, we'll talk. My mom would say it too. That was an unpleasant thing to have to think about, but I think we all know like public space being the male terrain, and like they sort of dictate the mores of the street, and like it's their domain first and we're sort of visitors in it. And that's how it felt. I consider myself a cultural worker or a cultural producer. We're not really interested in community development that is around like town hall style, where we're like, we're gonna have this meeting and tell you these things, but more small, intimate, intentional gathering, so that people can build.
People at the university, like my fellow students, would talk about the South Side of Chicago. So they were concerned about being unsafe, and they would talk about how there's nowhere to go to eat. They had to go to the city, which just cracked me up. Like, you're in the city. I run a project called the South Side Home Movie Project, which is an archival project that's focused on collecting and researching and contextualizing amateur films made by residents of Chicago's South Side. And people were sort of seeing all these commonalities, but they never would have engaged with each other during that time because of the way that racial segregation in Chicago has worked. So it just seemed that this was a body of material that could really inspire dialogue, like actual dialogue between people, where they were almost imagining different trajectories of what their lives could have been.